What's up guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another bullet journaling video. First off, let me apologize because I kind of messed up and I did not record the entire process of me painting my April cover page, which I'm super bummed about because I actually really liked the way that it turned out. It's like this field of lilacs. It's really pretty. I like it a lot. So I'm sorry that I did not end up recording that, but same as last month, I will have it available as a free download over on my Patreon. So if you want to download it for yourself and print it out for whatever reason to use in your own bullet journals or whatever, please feel free to do that. The link is down below. All I ask is that if you post it anywhere, please link back to my Patreon and credit me and tag me, and obviously don't try and sell it or do any weird things like that. It's the internet and you have to cover all your bases here, so I know that message does not apply to most of you, but I still have to throw in that little disclaimer. So anyway, I am just using my Reeves watercolors on some Georgia Pacific cardstock. This cardstock handles these cheap watercolors pretty well, and that's kind of my standard practice for most of my bullet journal covers, just because I don't want to use my expensive art supplies, and it's worked out really well so far. I've done this for 3 of my covers and I'm going to continue doing it throughout the rest of the year. So for the habit tracker, first of all, you can see I'm doing the spreads a little bit differently because I have the pages out of the bullet journal. I do find this to be a little bit easier, but I would just say that if you are going to do this method and you have the happy planner where you can kind of take your pages in and out, just be very confident in your spread layout, because if you make a mistake, it's gonna really suck. So that is just my little word to the wise there. But this is basically the same habit tracker that I had last month with only a few revisions. You can see I still kind of have my social media tracker in there, my kind of healthy habit tracker. I decided to nix the whole chore tracker just because it wasn't really relevant to me and I didn't really feel like I gained anything from that. So I decided to nix that, and I also included a place for my bills on this page and kind of just other various things that you can see. You can also download this tracker over on my Patreon if you are interested. And I just used some washi tape that I picked up at Daiso because I kind of thought it fit this spring floral theme. It doesn't really go with the purple from the cover, but I think it looks pretty regardless, so this is what I decided to do for my tracker. I also added a little spot for the monthly goals that I have, which is, I think, just really helpful, especially because April is going to be a very busy month for me. I have a lot of things going on in April and in preparation for May, which I will get into a little bit later in the video, but just to kind of let you know that that's kind of why I decided to include that extra feature. The weekly spreads have not changed much. I decided to continue that washi tape on throughout the rest of my spreads, so just so it kind of has this more cohesive theme. The only thing I changed was that I made sure my to-do list was on the same side for all of the weekly spreads. I was kind of experimenting with that last month, and I kind of realized I just like to have it on the outside of every page. It's easier to write, and I just kind of like that better. So for the left-handed spreads, the trackers are on the left, or the to-do lists are on the left, and on the right-hand spreads, the to-do lists are on the right side. So you'll kind of see me doing that as we go along. I also kind of accented the days of each week with just a purple mild liner. Yeah, mild liner. Just because I wanted to try and include some purples to kind of tie into that cover page. I didn't end up doing it very much, but I do like the way that it looks regardless. And this washi tape is so dang cute, you guys, and washi tape can be really expensive. So if you have a Daiso near you, I would highly recommend checking out their washi tape section because they usually have some good ones. And if you don't have a Daiso near you, I apologize, but you can also probably check like dollar stores, and I know Michael's and Hobby Lobby have tons of washi tape, but it's still a little overpriced, so just be sure to use a coupon. To write the kind of weekly headers, I am using my Pentel Pocket brush pen just because I really like the bold size, and to do all of the other writing, I am using just my Staedtler Tri Plus fine liner. in black. This is kind of my go-to. It's really the only thing I use it for, so I'm glad it's getting some good use. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about next month, because you guys have seen me do weekly spreads before, and I just decided to keep this footage in just so I could kind of talk about this really quickly. I am going to be traveling to Europe for most of May. So next month's bullet journal video is going to be a little bit different. It is going to be shorter, and it's going to include some different things, especially because I'm not really taking my bullet journal with me. I'm trying to pack everything in a carry-on, so there just really isn't room for my big chunky planner to travel with me to Europe. So I'm not going to divulge too much information, just kind of for safety reasons, personal reasons, but I will be kind of discussing this more as I go along. But that being said, I'm going to be having to do some serious planning for those 3 weeks that I'm gone, because I am still going to be uploading regularly and things like that. So yeah, next month's bullet journal is going to be a little bit different, and I gotta figure it out. I am going to be having a sort of promotional sale on my online store to kind of raise funds for my trip to Europe, so keep an eye out for that. I'm just gonna have like a 10% off discount code for my Store Envy shop, so if you guys want to support me by purchasing from my online store, I sincerely appreciate it. I'm also trying to like get rid of a lot of old stock, so chances are good that if you buy something, I am going to be throwing in some extra goodies for you. So yeah, the link to my shop is always down below, and so keep an eye out for that. And I'm also going to be collecting a bunch of questions from you guys so that I can film my 3K Q&A video. So just if you have questions that you want to ask me, be sure to comment those down below. But here you can see my video tracker. It's pretty much the same. And now I'm going to do kind of my whole flip through. Another thing that I picked up at Michael's recently is this little pen holder. So I decided to pop that into my bullet journal. You can see my cover page and monthly calendar here, and a good look at my habit tracker, which again is available for download along with the cover page. The weekly spreads I actually think look really, really cute. They look very streamlined and simple, but they do still have those cute little details that spice it up a little bit. So all the 4 weeks are pretty much identical. I don't have these filled out yet just because I'm kind of waiting till after I post this video to kind of fill in all these things. And then of course we have my video tracker with some notes and room for things next month. And you can see my May cover page there, so a little sneak peek at next month. I will be doing a whole kind of speed paint of that cover in that video. So be sure you're subscribed and stay tuned. And I also have a little extra treat for you guys this week. I decided to do a little DIY and make my own happy planner notebook. So this is kind of a whole DIY. All the supplies that I used for this I picked up at my local Michael's craft store. So what I did is I basically tore off the cover of my planner and traced that onto some watercolor paper so that I could get the sizing right. And I made 2 of those and then kind of just jumped right into painting them. You can see I'm kind of doing these very light pastel gradient washes. These are the insides of what is going to be the cover of our notebook, so the front and back cover. And then I'm going to paint the opposite side a little bit differently. Also, sorry the camera angle is weird. Sometimes my camera is too heavy for my tripod, so it kind of moves. And now you can see I'm working on the front cover, and I'm doing this cool galaxy design, which is really fun. It takes a little bit of time for this to kind of come together, and you see what I'm kind of going for, but I'm using various blues, pinks, and purples and kind of just creating different splotches of color. I want some areas of color to stand out while others I kind of want to blend in. And once I get all of the colors down, I actually go over this with some darker blue and black watercolor paint just to kind of mute it out so that it's not just this bright, obnoxious mess of colors. If you're into that, that's totally cool. But I wanted something a little bit softer. The one thing is that this takes a lot of drying time in between washes, so be patient. It took me, I don't know, probably like 8 hours total, just including drying time, to get this done. It's not that it's a very complex painting or anything, it's just that that's how long it takes for these puddles of water to dry. So yeah, I do the same thing on the other cover, and then I basically just picked which one I liked most and made that my front cover. So what I'm going to be doing with these is laminating them, punching them with my Happy Planner punch for my specific planner size. I prefer the ones with 9 rings, and I actually went to Michael's and picked up a second set of 9 rings so that I could just make the entire thing custom myself. And you can do that. That's what makes the Happy Planner line just so great and so flexible. I know I talk about Happy Planners a lot, and I have some of the Happy Planner accessories that I use in my Amazon list. If you guys ever want to check out like the supplies that I use, click that link down below. I do get a small commission from purchases made through that link, but it doesn't change the cost of the item for you. So it's just kind of a small way to support the channel. You can see here I'm going in with that black watercolor like I mentioned earlier. I just think that this really changes it up and makes it look really, really cool. You could, if you're doing a galaxy painting, add salt to the paper, and it's personal preference. I personally think it's too messy, so I don't do it. I prefer to kind of do splatters, which can also be messy, but the cleanup is a little easier. So that's kind of how I prefer to do my galaxies, and I do that with like some white paint kind of after everything's dried, and then I go in with like white gel pen, which you'll see later on too. But this was a really fun experiment. I learned a lot kind of about making my own custom covers. There's a couple things I would do differently. I would size these down ever so slightly, just because when you laminate them, the lamination makes it a little bit bigger. And I would also advise, when you're punching it with the Happy Planner punch, to punch through the watercolor paper and the lamination. It's a little bit hard, and the Happy Planner punches can be a little bit difficult to press down, but I don't personally have any problems with my Happy Planner punch like getting stuck or anything, but that does make the cover more secure to the binder rings. The way I ended up doing it this time was that I only punched through the lamination, and it's just a little bit easier for the covers to pop off. So if you attempt to do this yourself, take my advice and punch through the lamination and the watercolor paper, not just the lamination. So for the cover, I am including a little bit of text that I thought would kind of fit with the whole galaxy theme, and I decided to include the phrase big ideas, because that's basically what this notebook / journal is going to be for me. It's basically a place for me to just brain dump all of the random thoughts and lists and ideas that I have, and have them all in one place. And the extra cool thing about it is that if I have a page that I want to move to my bullet journal, I can easily just take it out and pop it into my planner. So it's super easy, super customizable, and I love the flexibility that this gives me. So yeah, I'm using a whiteout / correction pen from Daiso to kind of highlight those letters, and then I'm going in with my white Uniball gel pen to add some stars and just kind of jazz it up a little bit, and this gave it a really, really cool look. And I love the finished product here. I think it turned out really neat, and in fact I actually loved this little watercolor painting so much that I made it available on my Redbubble and Store Envy. So if you want to buy a little print of this, just a little galaxy painting that says big ideas, the links for that are down below as well. Sorry, I'm talking a lot of shop stuff today, but really trying to raise funds for my 3-week excursion to Europe. So if there's ever a time to self-promo, now is the time. And again, I'm going to be doing a 3K Q&A coming up, so if you guys have questions for me regarding my art, my channel, my life, anything like that, comment it down below. I'm going to be collecting questions over the next couple of weeks so that I can film that Q&A while I'm gone, and have it ready to go while I'm in Europe. So yeah, you could see on the inside cover there, I just kind of included my name just a little personal touch. And then I'm using these Scotch lamination pouches and my Scotch laminating machine. This was really inexpensive and cheap. You can get it at like Walmart. And I just kind of put it to the biggest size setting and I run it through twice. And then I trim off the excess lamination just so that, you know, it kind of fits a little bit better. And then I punch it with my Happy Planner punch. I also rounded the corners a little bit. That's personal preference, but you could do that if you wanted to also. I just noticed that the Happy Planner covers themselves when you buy them have rounded corners, so I decided to round my corners. So yeah, like I mentioned, the Happy Planner punch can be a little bit tricky to push down. Definitely don't be afraid to like put your whole body weight on it. That's kind of what I have to do to make mine work, but I really don't have any problems with it, and it makes it super easy to customize my own bullet journal stuff, so I definitely recommend getting one. Then you can see I have these rose gold discs for the binding of my Happy Planner. I've never purchased these separate on their own, so this was kind of a fun experience. And then I have this notebook paper that came in my gridded paper packs. It comes with 20 pieces of gridded paper and then 20 pieces of lined paper, so I've just kind of had this lying around, and this is kind of the perfect way to put it to use. So, and I also had an extra like pen holder, so I decided to stick that to the back of this notebook as well, just so that I would always have a spot for a little ballpoint pen. That way if I'm taking this with me while I'm on the go, I don't have to worry about throwing in an extra pen because this has a spot for one permanently. So yeah, this is a really fun little idea. I hope you guys like it, and like I said, check out the shop links down below. I will see you guys next week with some brand new content. So until then, have a wonderful weekend and take care. Bye!